of Asian businesses collective punishment. I can see why they think that, but for me personally, I'm holding off on that assessment. You need to realize this is a very natural response, in my personal opinion, and it's very mild in the sense that I'm seeing people bring up collective punishment in the sense like, oh, people saw one thing and then they took it out through violence. They rioted through the streets and attacked their businesses. This is purely just a boycott. This is people choosing not to spend their money at certain businesses. All right. This is perfectly within legal limits. Okay. Another point I want to bring up is even without an organized boycott, people already made up their minds when they saw on the news that another kid has been killed by an Asian business owner. Let's say there is a restaurant franchise, one location accidentally food poisons their clientele and news spreads around, and people around the United States decide to avoid that franchise altogether. Is that collective punishment? I don't really think so. All right. I think collective punishment in this situation would be if people across the United States decides to burn down every single franchise they can find, despite that one specific location being the one at fault. I think you can just argue that this is poor marketing from Asian business owners. All right. The fact that there's already a record of Asian business owners killing Black kids, that's horrible marketing. Why would, just think about it for a moment. Do you think the Black community would have somewhat concerns shopping at Asian businesses, knowing that there's a record of Asian business owners killing Black kids? Think about that for a moment. I feel like, again, that's why I feel like this is a natural response. This is a natural response to a kid getting killed. People are going to call this pandering. They're going to call me performative, even call me a traitor. And I understand where they're coming from, but for something like this, I like to try to not have as much ego as possible, because just think about it like this. Let's say there is no boycott. Let's say people react as if nothing happened after this kid tragically died. What type of accountability would you see from the Asian community? What type of action would you see from the Asian community? And I think that is a brutal question, because I worry there won't be any accountability at all.
So I found myself back in Asian people business, and this is what I found out. Oh baby, the ban is not stopping, okay? Them Asian owned nail salons and shit, the chairs are empty. It's summertime. That's where they supposed to get the most business. Pedicure season, baby. They have no clients. Now they all on the internet crying about how their salons are empty and how nobody's getting their nails done, nobody's supporting these businesses, and how it's racist and everybody's anti-Asian. But let me explain something to y'all, okay? I want to make sure that I'm 110% clear, so that way I'm going to talk real slow, so that way y'all understand me, okay? Because I understand that comprehension is not a skill that everybody has. People do not want to support your business, not because they don't like Asian people and they're anti-Asian. They don't want to support your business because they're tired of being racially profiled as soon as they walk into the door. All right? They're tired of feeling like that every time they go into y'all salons and, go to y'all hair supply stores, you're following them around and, you laughing and joking and talking shit in different languages and Vietnamese or whatever the fuck language y'all are speaking. They don't feel welcome. That's why they don't want to support your business. This whole situation with Cyrus was the straw that broke the camel's back. It was already coming. Like I said, I'm going to speak real slow so that way everybody understand what it is that I'm saying, okay? So, for you to try to shift the blame and say, well, don't buy nothing from China, and that means that y'all need to just start growing y'all hair and stop buying that wigs and weaves from China and whoop, whoop, whoop. How are you claiming that someone is being racist to you when you are being microaggressive all in the same breath? Okay, it's like you don't know if you want to be the victim or the villain in this origin story. And the problem is that y'all want that proximity to whiteness. But let me explain something to you. Unless your skin is pale white and you are white, you will never be white. Okay, baby, they don't look at you as one of them. You are still a minority. You are still a person of color. And the fact that you use that as a pedestal to put yourself above other people of color because your skin's just a tiny bit lighter is a problem. It's deep in y'all community, and that's something that y'all need to work on. But all this crying on the internet, it need to stop because we don't give a fuck.
Chinese restaurants in black neighborhoods than almost anywhere else in America. So much so that Chinese food becomes an integral part of the black experience growing up. In New York, the chicken wing and pork fried rice $5 plate was the after school special, but I genuinely never stopped to ask why that is. I just thought Chinese people found a niche and exploited it, but there's a whole history here. At a high level, being black and a millennial, I have some understanding of the issues and how the U.S. government pitted Asians against the black community, but I'm still too young to understand the tension between Korean and black neighborhoods during the LA riots. Why Chinese food, Korean beauty supply stores, and liquor stores are all pervasive and in every single black neighborhood across America. But like with most things, it all comes down to anti-blackness and the intentional oppression of black Americans and using other marginalized groups to do so. America.
The recent wealth transfer and boycott of Asian businesses. The interesting thing is here that Asians are calling out Asians, and Asians are saying to Asian business people who have their enterprises or their franchise in the black community that the way they have treated the average black community, especially with the unaliving of black kids, is sending a very wrong signal to the black community. And they're asking questions. Why would we patronize you? Why should we engage in your franchise since you don't place value on what services or what needs we are meeting in your business establishment? We're bringing our dollars, our hard-earned money, and we're patronizing your made goods and services. And so the Asians are calling out fellow Asians in the United States and saying, if this boycott continues, it's not an issue of racial discrimination. It's an issue of fundamental right of human life and dignity. And so you're welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're just coming in, you're welcome. If you're an old subscriber, thank you for making this happen. If you're a new subscriber, please hit that notification button, hit that subscription button, because we'll have more videos to evaluate. Credits to the original content creators as we dive into other content. And at the end of this video, we'll come back to give you a summary of what we conclude as our own personal analysis.
Fuck Ricky Chow. As a Cambodian American, Asian American, and child of immigrants and refugees, we do not condone his actions. We do not harm children, elderly people, or pregnant women. If a child needs water and cannot afford it, we provide it for them.
Help the community, you know, and for us guys to eat their food, we should get some type of feedback that
they don't help out and do anything. I mean, they can be right here for 25 years. You can tell them we having a fundraiser right here in front of the stores. Most people probably tell you like, go ahead, get from in front, get from in front. But you don't want nobody in front of your joint. You don't want to donate nothing, like. But you can't get them out of here. It seems like they popping up like motherfucking weed shops, liquor stores.
In 1882, Congress passed the Chinese Exclusion Act. Basically, a "you are not welcome here" signed into law. Nearly every Chinese immigrant was banned from entering the United States. The only exceptions were diplomats, students, and merchants. So Chinese immigrants got creative. If owning a business is the ticket in, then everybody's opening a business. And restaurants were low cost to start, no professional license that could be denied on racial grounds, yet written into law, just food and hustle. They found a loophole which fueled survival inside a system designed to keep them out. Now, let's fast forward a few decades. Redlining is in full effect. The federal government is literally drawing maps of black neighborhoods and making them too risky for investment. White businesses are leaving, banks aren't lending, and Chinese restaurant owners, who are also being locked out of white neighborhoods by housing discrimination, are moving into the same spaces black families are being contained in. Two communities, both excluded by the same system, ending up in the same zip codes, but with vastly different realities and relationships with the country and the government. By 1966, the civil rights movement is at its peak. Black Americans are demanding systemic change, and suddenly magazines start publishing stories of how Asian Americans are thriving, hardworking, successful, ergo, the model minority. And the subtext was loud and clear. If they can do it, what's your excuse? They weaponized Asian success that was fueled by active oppression of black people as a tool manufactured to reframe 400 years of deliberate economic exclusion as black cultural failure. It also worked to pressure Asian Americans into distancing themselves from black civil rights struggles to protect their own status. Divide and redirect. The thing about the model minority myth is it flattened the entire Asian American experience. It ignored poor Asian communities, refugee communities, undocumented workers. It picked the most palatable version of Asian success and used it as a kugel against black people. Sounds familiar, right? While that narrative was being pushed, Korean-owned beauty supply stores and liquor stores were becoming fixtures in black neighborhoods for the same structural reasons. Banks wouldn't lend to black entrepreneurs in their own communities. Korean immigrants had access to community lending networks called KAI, so capital flowed one way while resentment built another. Black dollars leaving black neighborhoods, frustration getting aimed sideways at other minorities instead of upward at the system that engineered all of it. And this was all by design. The Chinese Exclusion Act, redlining, the model minority myth, 3 separate tactics by the government with the same goal: keep black wealth suppressed, use everyone else as an unwitted instrument to do it. We see the remnants of this today, where we have some Asians that are still buying into the model minority myth or buying into white proximity to whiteness. But at the end of the day, we're all a part of the same system being used to oppress each other, with black people always being on the bottom of the chopping block in America and for the American government. So the next time you're in a black neighborhood ordering a shrimp fried rice from that spot that's been there for 40 years, just know the menu has a whole history attached to it, and one that we all should know. Stay black, stay blessed.
An old Chinese guy like Rick Chow is going to do anything to keep his son out of trouble, including take the fall for him. Now, other creators have been saying that Rick, at the age of 61, could not really have chased Cyrus Carmack Belton across more than a football field of distance. Andy Chow, however, Rick's son, who was only 20, I believe, could have easily done it. So I agree with them. I think Andy did it. I think Andy was the one who murdered Cyrus. And our hypothesis is validated by Chinese culture, Chinese immigrant culture. Working class Chinese immigrants like Rick Chow, who run a gas station, believe that their children are the future. Their children are their American dream, the ones that are going to, become white collar workers, become doctor, lawyer, engineer, whatever. That's what creates so much pressure on Asian kids. There's like a stereotype. And for the most part, it is true. Then you add in the fact that Andy is a boy. And in our culture, you're supposed to take care of your parents when they get old. You're supposed to financially support them. We don't find it acceptable to put old people in a nursing home. So Andy was supposed to go out, get married, and find a girl who was also going to take care of those parents, if we're going by traditional Chinese values. I personally have had a few accusations against me that would have completely tanked my career from, Asian men, terrible Asian men, saying that I was harassing them. But that's besides the point. When my parents found out, they locked in and they were just like, anything we need to do to dispel these false claims, we will do. Now, the thing is, Andy actually did it. Andy actually probably murdered Cyrus. So Rick Chow and his wife saw their entire hopes, their entire American dream go up in flames in that moment. And I think they decided as a family to put the blame on Rick instead. Now, before you go saying that, Rick was being so generous protecting his son, no. Andy is their retirement plan, okay? He is their pride and joy, their bouncing baby boy, the thing that they will primarily discuss with other members of their community as a point of pride. He is a boy. Y'all on here who made this hypothesis, you are very smart. Stop Asian Hate is starting to feel like an anti-black model minority dog whistle. A 14-year-old black kid named Cyrus Carmack Belton has been murdered by a Chinese man. Shouldn't we be saying Black Lives Matter instead? So many people have come into my comments being like, I'm so worried about my safety as an Asian person now. Or like, how dare black people boycott our businesses, as if a boycott is actually going to be something violent. 70 to 90% of the hate crimes against Asian Americans have been perpetrated by white people. You know that, right? And the ones that are committed by black people are replayed over and over and over again on the news because that's what fits their narrative. And let me ask you again, why are you using the death of an innocent black kid to cry and make it all about us Asians? It's giving white narcissism right now. It's almost like you model minority Asians studied a little too hard under the white people. And it's giving all lives matter. It really is. Now, do I believe that Asians should be hate crimed? No. I'm Asian. I've been hate crimed. Someone tried to dump acid on my mom during COVID. In elementary school, white kids poured mud on my clothing when I wore like traditional Chinese stuff to school. People called me freaky Chinese. I know what Asian hate feels like. And the general sentiment that I'm seeing from the black community right now is not Asian hate. It's self-preservation. There has been some racism from some of them toward Asians, but the way that y'all are talking about it, you're like really leaning into the negative stereotypes about black people by painting them as so dangerous when it was one of their children that got shot dead. Stop Asian Hate started feeling mainstream and neoliberal as soon as Joe Biden gave us our Stop Asian Hate bill when black people got nothing. Yeah, we got a bill about it. If you're so worried, go ask the white people to protect you. Now, to be fair, racism against Asians is still a huge problem, okay? I'm not saying I want us to be hate crime. I'm just saying that the phrase "stop Asian hate" has lost its meaning, and this is a very weird time for some of you to be concerned about that.
Is that you are upset with one Asian person and the rest of the one that looks like him get punished for it. That's the questions that we're asking. It's not because, oh my God, we're losing a business that you're not going to shop with us. No. The question is, why do you punish people that look like Chow? That's it. Because we asked that questions, you went into, oh, so the boy was innocent. No, we're not saying that we're not grieving for the loss of Cyrus. We're not saying that we agree with Chow. We're not arguing about anything in that matter. But we're asking, if you're not happy with Chow, go punish Chow. Why do you targeting collectively because we look alike? What? And because we asked that, you think that we're okay with shop owner to kill a young innocent man? Now, that's projection, sweetheart. That's not coming from me. I grieve and I feel mourn the loss of a life. Okay? No life should be lost. That's it. I'm not arguing about that.
Hello, everybody. This is Jay Sims, Army veteran, also retired detective. Let's talk about what she said. It sounds like self-preservation. We don't look like Chow. Go punish him. Come shop at our businesses. Let's keep oppressing the black community. We have to live. We know that Caucasian people are not shopping and doing the most like black communities or black neighborhoods because we don't own a lot of businesses, so we have neighborhoods. They have the communities. So at the end of the day, she's basically putting Chow out there on the chopping block while she could save her own ass and her own people that looks like her. But she still can't explain all the racism that they show, distrust that they show when black people go into their stores to shop, where they're being followed, trailed, and automatically assuming that they're going to steal if they haven't already. For her to get up here with this nonchalant attitude, like get over our feelings and stop punishing the rest of her people, she needs to do a lot of growing up, because this situation goes beyond reverse discrimination, reverse racism that she's trying to put out there. What do y'all think in the comment? Wake up, people. We got them on the ropes. Let's keep them there on the ropes so we can open up our own business and do what God intended for us, is to be entrepreneurs and support our own selves, not only just every other race that don't give back to our community. Leave something in the comments.
Guys, you looking at the analysis and all that is going on and the boycotts and the threats to life. And so some few Asians, not all, in the American system is calling out fellow Asians on how they have treated the black community, specifically considering that when they came into America as migrants, they were also classified by the system into the same racial profile, which are minority ethnic groups, as you may have it. And so when they come in, usually, as you know, as the Asian community comes in, they usually come in with family. They come in with children, they come with a husband, they come with mama, they come with grandparents, and every other thing else. And they give them the employment that could have been given to that community. There's always something that is meant to be given back to the host community. But the Asian businesses, establishments in the black community don't do that. And the black community has not complained about it. What they have been echoing, and they keep re-echoing, has been the manner at which they have been treated. Considering the fact that they are the ones who are keeping the lifeline of your business, your American dream, alive. And so they are calling them out and saying, see guys, what you are doing is absolutely wrong. If I am the one who is making your business thrive, if I'm the one keeping you afloat, I deserve better respect. The black community deserves better respect, better honor, dignity than what they are currently getting from you. And so if you're coming across this YouTube channel, you're welcome to my YouTube channel. Hit that subscription button, hit that notification button. Please, guys, by doing so, you help me buy a cup of coffee. And so we'll continue with this narrative and see how far it goes, to what extent and to what economic implication has this boycott, and what is happening right now to the Asian businesses in the black community will go. So see you guys on the next video. Bye.